All right, good evening and welcome to my final project video tour where we'll be going over the elements of my final project here. And as prescribed in the instructions, we're going to start off by going to a private window where we will paste here. And we're going to open it up and we navigate to our final project here. Now it's going to be an 11th grade irony lesson where we're going to be reviewing AKS 6. Which is basically looking at the point of view that requires a student to distinguish what is directly stated in the text versus what's really meant. And we chose a really good lesson here. We're going to be looking at the Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin, and the learning objective here. In the lesson, they'll be able to identify situational and dramatic irony, analyzing how irony shapes its meaning, and explain how Chopin challenges expectations about marriage and freedom. Now, we're going to go through these elements as we start here. We're on the final project. And first element here is the lesson plan where we click here. And as we go through the lesson plan, you'll see that the AKS here is clearly stated. We're talking about our measurables and two things that we want to do. They're going to be able to identify dramatic and situational irony. And we're going to do that by giving them a booklet. We're going to give them a booklet for them to be able to practice, and they're going to have to read that story. So we're going to have another measure to make sure that they read the story, and then they can identify elements. So we'll talk about that a little later. And we're going to have 3 essential questions that is embedded in the lesson that they'll be able to review in its entirety. And that's what's going to happen. Now, in the beginning, we're going to give an introduction we're going to talk about what irony is, and they will see this portion of it in the interactive cast lesson. And then once we read it, we're going to stop after they read it, and then we're going to start asking the questions, and then we'll touch the 3 essential questions are going to be sprinkled out through the lesson and the cast. And then the first part of their prompt, which will be the group work, where they will look at each situation and be able to respond as to identifying the elements and what does it say, and then their response, their assessment, individual assessment, individual work, well, they'll write a paragraph that'll show how she uses irony. And so from there, once they do that, the directions are here. We'll go to the interactive screencast lesson, which is here, and it has the 3 essential questions in the lesson. Good morning, class, and welcome to our lesson for today. And we're going to be talking about the story of an hour. So we have that portion of it there. And once they complete it here, second in their instructions, they'll go to interactive tool 1, and interactive tool 1 is actually a curation tool, and I use Wakelet, where they're able to read it, where they're actually able to read the story or read the video per se. They can read the story there, and then it gives you a couple of pieces of situational irony, dramatic irony, as they can go through it and just get a couple of examples there. Once they are complete there, you have the online quiz where they can answer here, submit. They get the confirmation that it is done. And this particular portion, it actually assesses did they read the story. That's what we want to make sure that they read and they understood what was happening in the story. And from there, interactive tool number 2 is a booklet, because once we've read and understood, I want to make sure that we can identify different pieces of irony. So they can go here, enter their name as such. And then they can play a game there as well. So just to recap, the lesson here, lesson plans. Here you have the embedded lesson that they can review, the online quiz, interactive tool, which is the curation tool. All the way to the bottom with the interactive tool number 2, which is a booklet. those are all the elements as explained and required by the assignment. Thanks for listening.